Let's take a look at some of the new features and changes that have happened in Google Forms. Note, you will only see these changes in new forms, not forms you already have created.
My first tip, this is an oldie but a goodie, is to type in forms.new, opens you up to a brand new untitled form. Now let's go ahead and explore some of the pieces that are new. Starting across the top, we're just going to call this one Test New Features January 2025. I always like to give it a title. And now let's move across and take a look. Over here to the right, the first thing I want to point out is this share button. This actually tracks with many of the other Google tools and how they like to share. This is the same icon that they use. And when we click that, we'll see that it actually looks very similar again to the other Google tools. Here, you'll notice a couple of different things. First of all, at the top, these are the people who have access to your form. So always, managing your forms is important, knowing who has access and what access they have. The next one is in this general access. You have two different places. First, you have what's called the editor view. These are people who are going to be able to edit the questions, edit the responses, edit the settings. You can change that from restricted to anyone in your schools or anyone with the link. You can also edit that individually by adding them up here. Next is the responder view. This is the people who will be answering your form. Again, you can have it set to restricted, which would mean no one can do it except for people up here at the top. Your specific school or anyone with link. You can also have the option to remove the link, which would then stop them from being able to access the form or send in their responses. I'll show you an example of what it's like to add one specific person. So I will add my other email account. And so here's me adding a specific person for that email account. And then I choose their access. Do I want them to be a responder or an editor? I even have the option to add an expiration. I'll leave this as responder. And then over here, if they are an editor, you would be able to notify them that they are an editor. This publish the form, we're going to get to that in just a moment. But now if I click share, let's open up the share settings again. You can see currently that I, Emily Poole here, am the owner. This person has been allowed permission to be a responder. The editor view is restricted and the responder view is just for my district. So just check out some of those sharing and play around with them depending on how you want your form to be. The next change that I want to point out to you is in the settings tab. So click settings. And from settings, we want to take a look at responses. Here's the line I want you to pay attention to: collect email addresses. If this is set to verified, only those with Gmail accounts or their school email accounts are going to be able to respond to your form. In fact, it says they will be required to sign in. So that's important. If you're sending this out to, for example, families or parents or general public, you would want to change that instead to responder input if you are looking for them to supply a connection or an email account. Or if you are doing an anonymous form out to anyone, you would choose do not collect. But that is a step that you'll want to check. Otherwise, you may or may not receive the information that you would like to get. All right, our next button that we're going to take a look at is just a moment ago in sharing, it talked about how I needed to publish my form. This is an important change. Now with the Google form, you absolutely it is required that you must publish the form before it is accessible by others. So you click the publish button, and then once again, you are allowed to see what settings you have. So right now, responders can be anyone in my school district. It's going to notify these specific people that have been named in there. You can include a personalized message if you would like. You can also turn this off if you don't want to notify them. And when everything is set just as you would like, you can click Publish. Also notice there's a Manage button here, so if you want to change that, that is where you can change that. Let's go back. So we like this, accessible by the schools. These specific people will be notified. Publish and notify. You'll notice at the top, after I did the publish, it now says published. Basically, that's telling me that my form is available for others to respond to. If we click this, we can quickly see all of the settings. Are we accepting responses? If you're finished with that form, you can turn that off. You can also manage who is responding, and there's a quick, easy access. Notice the link icon. Copy the responder link. You can copy this, and you could put that in an email, Google Classroom, or any other way that you would share a link. Let's talk about a little bit of a change up here in these quick buttons. So here in the preview button, you'll notice a couple of things. Google has helped us out by giving us a header up here, and it says preview mode. That is because this is showing us exactly what our respondents would see. It used to be that you could copy this link and share that to people. That is no longer the case, okay? This is just preview mode. If you want the link to send to a respondent, you would copy this link right here. Let's exit from preview mode. And notice our link icon. Here is a third access point for you to be able to get a link to that Google form. All right, I've updated to a couple of questions on here, and now I'm gonna fast forward, add a few entries to show you what it looks like when we open this in Google Sheets to view our responses. All right, so you can see here I've collected a few responses, and of course I can always click here and Google Forms is going to show me those responses. So I collected a few data points from what I've heard today, and so here are some cold temps and where they live. But if I wanted to view this data differently and show you how they open up in tables in Google Sheets, I'm going to click Link to Google Sheets. I will create a new spreadsheet. And here's where the new feature of Google Form and Google Sheets came together, is that this now opens in default in a table. And a table basically means that it is set up to be able to sort and filter the information a little bit easier. So for example, let me show you just one quick win, and we'll actually look at digging into tables on Sheets a little bit later. But if I want column C to be organized alphabetically, I can click this drop down caret, and I can choose to sort the column, and I'll sort it A to Z. You'll notice that quickly and easily all of my data is sorted. So this is kind of a handy tip that Google is now automatically putting it in this table format straight from a Google form. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you have any questions or how you'll be using this in your classroom.